Cool guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm really excited to be talking about the first season of Snowpiercer. So depending where you are in the world, this could either be a TNT original show or a Netflix original show. Because I'm in South Africa, this is a Netflix original show. So the basic plot outline of the show is very similar to the 2013 movie, which shares the same name, Snowpiercer. And essentially, it's been 7 years since the world became this frozen wasteland, right? And Snowpiercer is considered, I guess, like an arc for humanity. But within this train, various social injustices have started, different classes have sort of separated from one another, and each class has become essentially pretty separated, like separating the poor from the rich. So definitely a lot of social and political commentary throughout the show, which again the 2013 film also touched on. And just off the bat, Jennifer Connelly and David Diggs were the standout performances in the show. 100%, hands down, they were the best parts of the show in my opinion. The characters were really interesting as well. Jennifer Connelly sort of plays the authority figure throughout this show, I would say. She's sort of the second in command to Mr. Wolford, who is the person who created the train. So it was very interesting seeing these two characters who are very different with regards to where they are on the train, and where they stand with the people in the train. And just seeing how their relationship as characters develop throughout the show. Really interesting, and I definitely love that aspect of the show. So my first negative with the show was, like, immediately as soon as I started watching the show, I was comparing it to the 2013 film that Bong Joon-ho did. I really enjoyed that film. I love that film. I thought it was a very good sort of commentary on society and on class and on injustice and all that sort of stuff. So I really enjoyed the 2013 film, and I was worried that this show was going to repeat the same beats and it was going to repeat the same ideas and themes that the film touched on. And obviously I knew it was going to sort of overlap a little bit because it is based on the same thing. And I would say the introduction of the show and even the first episode and maybe even the second episode felt very similar to the film. And it even goes to the degree that there's this character in the first season of Snowpiercer called Ruth, right? And she is clearly trying to be the Tilda Swinton character from the 2013 film, which is fun, but in my head that just meant that I was constantly comparing these two characters because essentially it felt like the TV show's creators were trying to make her the Tilda Swinton character. Whereas if I had done the show, I just would have made it a different character completely. But they're very clearly influenced by the Tilda Swinton character, and they try to make their own Tilda Swinton character in this show. Which is fine, but obviously I didn't think the character reached the levels that Tilda Swinton's character reached in the Snowpiercer film, because Tilda Swinton is in a league of her own. You know what I mean? So little things like that annoyed me a little bit. I'm like, why not just make it completely original? Why try take really good things that worked in the film and implement it here where it's not going to work as well, if that makes sense? So that was a bit of a red flag for me. David Diggs, who most of us will know from Hamilton. I haven't seen Hamilton yet, but apparently it's a really great play. I do want to watch it eventually, but haven't seen it yet. But anyway, he delivers like one of the best performances throughout the show. Really interesting character. I would say his character does sort of embody the struggles of the lower class on the train, and he's sort of the leader of that group. And as I said at the beginning, his character Leighton and Jennifer Connelly's character Melanie, they share a lot of screen time together, and Melanie's obviously from the upper class on the train. So it was great seeing how these different people from different backgrounds, from different classes, sort of came together and interacted, and seeing their conversations and their clash in ideas and some of their similarity with ideas as well. And it was great seeing that progress. Conceptually, I would also say the show does tackle really serious themes as well, which was interesting. And what I do like about the show is it does have more time to sort of dive into those themes. Like the film was great and stuff, but it also was only has a couple hours to tell its story, whereas this show has around 10 hours to tell its story. So it's great diving deeper into certain themes. You know, one of my issues with the film was that, like, I wish we kind of saw more of the dynamics in the train, the classes on the train, and how all of that's separated and how each class views each other. Whereas from the film's perspective, a lot of it was at times just from the lower class looking up to the upper class. Whereas what I like about the show is it has the upper class's concerns with the lower class, and the lower class's concerns with the upper class, and even the middle class, and you know, all that sort of stuff. So it was interesting seeing all of that develop, and I think because the show has a longer running time, it definitely had more time to do that. There were a few twists and surprises throughout the show, which I also really, really enjoyed, and I didn't think some of that stuff was happening behind the scenes when it actually happens. So I did enjoy that as well, and it did make the show a lot more engaging and entertaining for me. So now to just touch on a bit of the negatives ahead of the show, I feel like some of the editing throughout the whole first season was extremely choppy. And it became a bit distracting to me because I thought really emotional scenes were so chopped up and all over the place that it sort of took away from the emotion that I think the show was trying to provoke, if that makes sense. So some really weird cuts and edits throughout this first season. Another slight issue I had with the show was just some of the action sequences. I thought they just looked really low budget, which is unfortunate because I felt like some of the action sequences in the film were really good. And again, I know like TV shows sometimes don't have these massive budgets or don't have the budgets compared to the film, you know, or whatever. Like I understand that, but I just felt like even the way some of the action was shot, like it just felt a bit cheap, if that makes sense. So again, that's going back to the sort of production of the show. Visual effects were okay. I enjoyed them for the most part. Some of them did look cheap as well, but I understand like this is a TV show, and to sort of tell the story you need a massive budget, and I think they did enough with the budget they had. But some of the effects still just didn't look that great, I will be honest. There's a sequence in the show, I won't give spoilers, but there's one of the characters is on top of the train trying to get across something, and it just looked really bad. And I think because there are just such great visual effects in TV shows these days, like when there is a show that doesn't have good visual effects, it sort of sticks out like a sore thumb a little bit. So yeah, again, it's not a huge issue, and it's not going to make me not enjoy the show, but it just was, I just wish it was a bit better, if that makes sense. The cinematography was okay, nothing to write home about in my opinion. And another thing this was another issue I had with the show, is it felt like there was no music throughout the whole show. Like, I don't know if that was just me, but like, I try to, like, after watching the 10th episode last night, I was just thinking about what I was going to say in this review, and I was just like, was there actually any music in the show? Like, I do recall there being different sort of songs from performances that were happening on the train at different times in the show, but besides those songs, I can't recall there being music. And if there was music, I don't know why I can't remember it. But overall, I think the show is promising, and I'm very excited to see a second season. Jennifer Connelly and David Diggs, their performances definitely carry the show, and I feel like just seeing them interact as characters with one another and with other characters is enough to make the show extremely engaging and interesting. Like the story that this first season sets up, and I do like the way the story progressed. And even comparing it to the film, I felt like the show did feel like its own thing as well. With obvious callbacks and obvious similarities to the film, I still feel like it was unique enough to keep it original, if that makes sense. And I feel like you don't have to have seen the film to watch the show and enjoy it either, which is nice. And it doesn't feel like a spin-off either necessarily. It does still feel like its own original work, which is nice. I'm very curious to see if these stories eventually overlap in some way. Not quite sure, but I do feel like the show definitely leaves a door open for a second season, which I would be interested in seeing. So I'm going to give this show a 3.75 out of 5. I know that's a very specific number, but I do feel like there was a little bit more I was hoping out of the show, but at the same time the show was good enough to enjoy it and to make me anticipate and excited for a second season. I just wish some of the production quality of the show was a bit better. So yeah, it's getting a 3.75 out of 5. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. You guys are absolutely amazing. I really do appreciate every single one of you. I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you have seen Snowpiercer, the film or the series, let me know what you think about either in the comments down below. And if you guys have seen both, let me know which one you prefer, because I can't figure it out in my head which one I actually preferred overall. I feel like they're both really good. That's it from me today. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you to all the subscribers. There's been a lot more subscribers over these last couple of weeks. You guys are the best. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.